itself gets your juices flowing. The warm and comforting spices and the heat that this dish brings to any Diwali fare, heated with the fall climate, is perfect to enjoy. Though it came in through the Persian invaders right into India, and Kashmiri Rogan Josh is one that is worthy of being boasted about, the entire northern region of the country prepares their quirky take on this great classic. Let's get to creating my version of a simple yet stylish Rogan Josh with the heat and the spices welcoming the fall and Diwali right in. Let's get to creating it. Most often, mutton Rogan Josh is spicy, so you have to be extremely careful with the level of spice that you can handle. The gravy is light and watery, allowing you to enjoy this either with some naan or some Afghani naan, just to mop up all that glorious gravy that comes out of the mutton. To start off, in a heavy bottom pan, I'm going to take nearly a cup full of clarified butter or ghee, and this is extremely important while creating a Rogan Josh. However, if you want to replace it, you can use some mustard oil. The purpose is to get the heat right out and flavor the meat. So in goes a cup, and we're just going to allow it to warm and enjoy the fragrance that it brings. Don't be alarmed by the level and the quantity of ghee that we've used, because this just styles and accentuates the entire dish. So in goes 6 baby bay leaves that I'm just going to roughly shard off and put it in. Into that goes 2 star anise, because I want the licorice flavor that comes about in this, and 6 whole black cardamoms going in. Just allow this to steep for a minute to a minute and a half in the oil before we get to searing our meat. As the spices warm and you get the subtle licorice flavor and the strong sharp sense of the black cardamom wafting through your kitchen, I'm adding about 2 kgs of mutton bone-in pieces. You can actually divide this recipe by half, because I'm creating this for friends who are going to come and dine in tonight. So about 2 kgs of mutton going in, and we're just going to allow this to sear brown and give it that slight charry texture to the meat. Allow this to sear and caramelize on the highest possible heat for at least 4 to 5 minutes before we start adding in our spices into this mix. Having allowed the meat to sear for at least 4 or 5 minutes, releasing all its flavorful juices and really engulfing with the ghee, I'm just going to season it with some Himalayan pink salt, because I want the subtle flavor of the pink salt to accentuate this dish. So go right ahead and give it a good sprinkling of this salt. To this, I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of green cardamom powder. I've just roasted it and had it pounded. Allow the skin and everything to be there. It just gives it that more sharp and robust flavor. And 4 teaspoons of roasted fennel powder, coarsely pounded as well, flavoring this and giving it that burst of heat. Just allow all this to mix well and enjoy the fragrance that comes right in your kitchen. The fennel merging with the star anise actually gives you that sheer heavenly bliss while creating this dish. As we allow the meat to sear along with the cardamom powder and the fennel powder, into a bowl out here I've got about 400 grams of yogurt or curd that I've whisked. To that I'm going to add about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of some dry ginger powder, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon powder, 1 teaspoon of clove powder, and 3 heaped tablespoons of this gorgeous red chili powder that's from the northern region of India of Kashmir. So I'm using 3 tablespoons of Kashmiri red chili powder. Just emulsify all this together and it's ready to go along with the meat to cook in perfect harmony. As the meat has seared and given you that perfect golden hue and the scents are so sharp and pronounced, this entire mix of yogurt, clove powder, cinnamon powder and the gorgeous red Kashmiri chili powder goes right into this, allowing it to engulf with each other. Allow all this to mix with each other. Now the purpose and the name Rogan Josh comes about with the deep red color that this dish brings, and that comes only through the red chilies from the northern region of the country, that is Kashmir. So always use their red chili powder. However, choose the heat that suits your family. Kashmiri red chili powder has the heat but not as spicy as most red chili powders. Allow this to mix well with each other and cook on the slowest possible flame for about 10 to 15 minutes, absorbing all the flavors before we just add in some water to thin down the gravy. 15 minutes of simmering and you can more or less see how the sharp red color goes about. At this time, technically, a Rogan Josh always adds some raltan jog, which is a root that is steeped in about 20 to 30 ml of water. It gives you that bright red color that's used in this dish. I'm not using that, however, because I prefer having the Rogan Josh, the beautiful orangey red color. Into this goes a cup of warm water because we do not want the meat to get tough. We're just going to allow all this to mix together subtly, not too much. Just allow everything to infuse with each other. And we are going to simmer this for a good 45 minutes, allowing all the flavors to marry into each other. So all we are going to do is cover it and allow it to simmer. 45 minutes of allowing this to simmer on the slowest possible heat. This gorgeous creation is ready. This doesn't warrant a garnish. You can go right ahead and just sprinkle some finely chopped leaves of coriander and enjoy this. The runny gravy is perfect to mop up some flatbread and enjoy this as a wholesome meal in itself. Rogan Josh always has a story to tell, and if you manage to learn it from an old housewife up north in Kashmir, you just add to the charm of this great creation. It pairs beautifully for the festival of Diwali, the warm heat that the spices bring and not the spice that the red chili brings, though it does give you that great color. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and as I always say, don't forget to subscribe.